Hello, can everybody hear me? Just checking to make sure all the mics and things are working all right. Happy Nano. I hope everybody is at a good place with their words, and if not, then at least they're ready to start catching up today, because I'm like 19,000 words behind. Not 19,000, I'm 11,000 words behind. So I'm gonna be doing a lot of sprinting today. Oh good, you can hear me. It's been a good month for me so far with the writing. I achieved my big goal of finishing the Runaways draft, so that was really the one thing I only needed to get done this month. And anything above and beyond that, reaching 50K, is just icing on top of the cake. But tonight I'm going to be working on either something for my mailing list or something for a future anthology or something for Runaways pre-order Kickstarter, I don't know, in the future publishing giveaways or goodies or freebies. So I have a couple of different ideas rattling around. I put up polls on Tumblr and in a bunch of Discord servers and on my Instagram, and there's a lot of variation between whether people wanted a short story or world building or excerpts from Hannah's plant journal, which is a new thing in this draft, or art, or all of the above, or none of the above. And so I'm just going to make all of the things and then figure out how I'm going to sort them later. But if you guys have opinions on what you want to be the mailing list goodie, freebie, cookie, giveaway, what have you, whatever you call it, let me know, because I'm taking suggestions. But I started working on the short story today and then realized that was coming last in the polls and started doing the Runaways world building instead. So I'm going to be working on the world building tonight until that's done, at least, and then go back to editing Runaways. What are you guys working on? You can sound off in chat while we're waiting for people to show up. I'm still pulling up a couple of my different documents, so I will start once I have all of my things sorted. Hi, Jasper. Draft 3. Draft 3, buddies. Draft 3 is interesting. I don't know what the process has been for you, but for me it's been a combination of extensive rewriting, extensive drafting of new scenes, and line editing, which is a really weird combination. But hurrah for getting to draft 3. Remind me, what genre are you writing? I don't remember. Oh, you're so close to the 50K, Arista. I'm super excited for Darkling. Everything that you've been sharing on Tumblr and all the sneak peeks have looked super interesting with all the excerpts and stuff. I have the most ridiculous laundry list of books to read right now because I posted that I was looking for people to read their books and then do interviews for my blog and got flooded. And so I have a backlog of like 18 books right now that people are expecting me to read. And I want to read all of them, but I am one person with a day job and only so much time. So I'm trying my best to prioritize here and multitask at work to the best of my ability without getting fired. And none of these are audiobooks, which just makes it difficult for being in the lab, but I'm doing my best. Most of them are indie authors, so it's super cool to support indie authors. A lot of them have fairly small platforms, and so it's cool to do what we can to help each other out. And I've had the fun experience of reading Arrival Most Vile and Amanda Aller's books, and then they blew up after I interviewed them, and so I have the true hipster experience of I saw that before it was cool. And so that's always very gratifying. Not the hipster experience, but being able to help out other writers. So that's been keeping me busy, other than the actual writing. High fantasies, but 50s in a desert sounds like a fantastic setting. Hi, Heather. Thank you for joining us. All right. Timer up, so I should be ready to start whenever you guys are ready. That's not what I want. There we go. I apologize for the screen flashing that you're probably seeing now as I try to get the timer up. Navigating multiple tabs here, but if all your documents are ready, I can get started. Arista, I just saw your Tumblr ask that you sent me with the all the things gif, and I appreciate that meme so much. I think there's a delay, so I'm just going to start the timer and hope that you all can hear this, even if it's coming a little bit late. Happy writing! Hello and welcome back. Hi Lila, I'm glad you could join us. How many words did we do? I am still working on the world building document, and I am so sure I shared all of this on Tumblr at one point or another through like Storytelling Saturday or World Building Wednesday Asks, and I'm trying and failing and trying to scroll through all of the search function with the tag to try and find all of this old world building information that I've scattered throughout my blog. But I'm excited. I think it should be fun once this document's all put together. Wow, Heather, you were really booking it. All words are good words. Yeah, the first sprint of the night's always slow. It's trying to get back into things, remember where you left off. I don't know how many of you are American, but I'm coming off of a week of not writing because I was entertaining family over Thanksgiving, so that's why I'm so behind. But hopefully we'll get a little bit more caught up tonight. I was on track. I was almost ahead before the Thanksgiving break, but here we are. I don't know how you all feel about this playlist that I picked out, but I played classical piano for like 10 years. I took lessons when I was in middle school and high school and elementary school and all the school. And so many of these songs are songs that I recognize from my many years of playing Debussy and Mozart and Chopin. Oh no, Lila, I'm sorry you've had a cold. I'm glad you're getting back into it, though. Nope. No vacation time for us. Yeah, I didn't do November Nano while I was in school ever because I always had midterms and I always had finals in high school I always had midterms and in college I always had both midterms and finals during the season. And so it just didn't happen. Especially being in engineering school. There was one semester that I had like 4 classes that each had 2 or 3 midterms each, and for some reason my teachers coordinated to spread it out, so I had like a midterm every week, and that was awful. So this is my first time doing real Nano since I was like in 8th grade and wrote my first book during Nano. And it's been a really fun experience now that I have a day job and a routine and no homework and no exams. But if for most of the authorly community, it's just the worst month they could have picked. I miss the days of Camp Nano, but they killed that site. Does anybody have favorite lines from this last sprint? Katie always asks this, and it's really fun to see what she comes up with, but she's not around tonight, so. Yeah, I could never even manage 10K when I was in school. Like, I was lucky if I wrote twice a month. Lucky if I wrote twice a month, if that. And even then it was like a couple thousand words. And that was it. It was the muse seizing me by the throat when I was trying to study in the library and not letting me go until I like grabbed a whiteboard and re-outlined Leo yet again. But having the regular routine and writing every day has been so good for my creativity, and I thank God every day I wake up and I'm not in high school, I'm not in college anymore. Sometimes my family asks me if I'm going to go to grad school, and that's a resounding absolutely not. Yeah, I think I saw that they moved Camp Nano to the main site. I missed the original site. It was so cozy. I liked the cabins. That was where I first joined Nano, was through Camp Nano and the Young Writers program in, God, let me get the book. This was when CreateSpace was still a thing. I'm gonna date myself here. Not that I'm that old, but CreateSpace on Amazon was still a thing. In 2015, I wrote my first Nano book through the Young Writers program. And it was like 20,000 words, and I was so proud of myself. And I had it printed off, and so I have it here. This is Veloda's Adventure. I'm going to rewrite this at some point, because it's the Renaissance princess in STEM who builds a flying machine with Leonardo da Vinci story. But they've since gotten rid of a lot of that, and the forums and everything, it's just not the same as what it used to be. I'm bitter. June, all the respect to you for doing grad school. All the respect. I cannot, but good for you. Yeah, Lila, you were telling me about your secret project. You pulled a Sanderson on us. I don't know how you write so fast. It is kind of terrifying sometimes, but extremely impressive. Oh, that's tragic, Arista. I am so sorry that you couldn't get your best friend to do the cabins, or that they shut down the year after. That's awful. Oh, wow, nice. Okay, let me switch back over to the timer. Heather, I love that line. Didn't think that far ahead. Kind of a mood. They aren't trying to kill each other right now. I don't know anything about these characters, but from those two lines, I already love their dynamic. That is absolutely iconic. What is their relationship to each other? Are they siblings? Are they friends, best friends, romantic interests, mentor apprentice? Like what are we working with here? Maybe it's just because I write a lot of sibling relationships, but they're not trying to kill each other. It seems very much like my siblings going at each other's throats. But also, we did karate together as a family, so our sparring sessions were a little bit unorthodox. Do I have a favorite line to share? Let me look. Here, this one's mildly poetic. I'll put it in the chat. It's one word too long. There we go. Oh, enemies to lovers. That's super fun. My line is describing the Seelie monarchs in Runaways, King Oberon and Queen Titania. Am I back? OBS just disconnected on me. Another thing that I didn't include in the poll, but I'm going to include, I'm not sure if it'll be for the mailing list or if I'll just post it publicly because I'm proud of it, but I wrote a song for Runaways, and it's got 5 stanzas plus a chorus. And I want to arrange it on the guitar and add finger picking and percussion, and I have a whistle, and this story is about the piper, and so I'm going to add Irish whistle to it because I happen to have one of those and I don't have a piano in my house. And so I'm going to put together the song and share the lyrics to that at some point. I've been sitting on it for a while, but I'm not sure how I'm going to distribute it yet, or if I'm going to keep it secret. Again, I'm bad at keeping things secret or keeping things exclusive. So I just want to publish everything immediately, all the time, and I can't do that. So trying to think ahead. I've dabbled in songwriting a little bit, but I've never made anything complete. I have over a dozen half-finished, like, snippets of lyrics. I don't want to say I'm good at writing lyrics, but lyrics come more naturally to me because I really enjoy reading and writing poetry. And whenever I'm listening to music, I always pay attention to the lyrics first. And so I have a dozen bits of choruses or something here or there, and I've never turned anything into a full song. So that's why this is taking so long. Thank you for all the compliments. It's really cute. I appreciate it. I don't know how to play the tin whistle very well, but I found a tutorial that taught me how to play the Concerning Hobbits theme after I listened to The Lord of the Rings this year, and playing Concerning Hobbits around my house while wearing a cape is peak autumn Hobbit core vibes. I don't know. Romanticize your life. This is how we get through 21st century mundanity of having to go to work every day. Thank you all for sharing your lines too. I love to read them. All right. I think we have more words to get through tonight, and it's almost 9, so I'm going to start the clock again. But I'll see you guys on the other side of the timer. Happy writing! Hello, we're back. Hello, Caitlin. I'm glad you could join us. How did everybody do this sprint? I spent altogether too much time trying to scroll through my old Tumblr and find this one post where I talked about redeemed vampires like ages ago. And Tumblr's search function has failed me. I cannot find it. I tried searching vampires. I tried searching Runaways tag. I tried searching Runaways world building, Runaways inspiration, Runaways vibes, Incorruptibles, Seelie Court, Unseelie Court, Seelie, Unseelie. I cannot find it anywhere to save my life. I found some other good stuff that I added to the doc, but I could not find this one post where I world built redeemed vampires that are extremely Catholic, because I'm Catholic and I put that into everything that I write. But I wanted to add it to the world building document and I cannot find it anywhere, and this makes me very sad. But the point of this is that none of the Unseelie creatures are completely unredeemable. Every single one of them can be redeemed and brought back to the Seelie Court. Just some processes are more difficult than others. Line editing is good. I think I'm gonna switch from the world building to line editing and pull up my Pro Writing Way document, because this is just frustrating me now, and I have all of the brain dump here, but I need to like put it into some kind of proper semblance of an order. And also, I decided that instead of making people pick, I'm just going to do all the things, as Arista so helpfully supplied the meme for earlier. I'm going to do a little bit of Hannah's journal and a little bit of art, so I think I'm going to work on the art for that at some other point, but I'm going to move to editing with my Pro Writing documents and do line editing for the next sprint. Wow, yeah, we all picked up from the last time. 645, 696, that's awesome. Ooh, Romantic Confession is fun. Is this between... Wait, I'm not gonna say that, spoilers. I think I know who this is between. If you want to share it yourself, you can go ahead. Does anybody have favorite lines? Let me look. Okay, I'm gonna have to cut this up into 2 sections because the word length is not being nice to me. This is what I could remember of that vampire obnoxiously Catholic post. This entire thing is a very thinly veiled allegory because I'm writing middle grade, and so therefore it can be obvious. But that's basically the premise. Thousands of jewels and bright fabric sparkle in front of Sarek's eyes, and the only thing grounding him is the warmth of his new husband's hand in his own. Ah, that's sweet. Love, it was something Faye so rarely was dabbling in that she hadn't made the connection, but for vampires, Lizzie was learning that was most important. The emotions were almost more important than brief moments of physicality. I love that. I am ace, and so whenever I write romance, or read romance, I always focus on the emotional connection and the friendship building into the romance side of things way more than I care about the physicality. And watching romantic things with my boyfriend is always amusing because I'm like ruthlessly tearing apart these romantic subplots, and in the rare occasions that they actually are well written and cute, it's very funny. Jasper's line, again, Vinny felt something from within the statue. It tugged at his consciousness, demanded for his attention. The statue's hands were outstretched to her sides as if welcoming him closer. That is full of implications. I love that. That is super cool. Sentient statue, something trapped within the statue, spirits. I am fascinated. That's super cool. Thank you, Caitlin. I'm glad that you like the snippets. Incorruptibles is referencing in Catholicism, there are certain saints that after they died, their bodies never decomposed. I think St. Clare is one of them. St. Catherine of Avila. There's a bunch. And so that concept of after you die, your body doesn't decompose and you remain incorruptible, being a parallel to the undead immortal vampire that stays young forever, I think is very interesting. Paralleling something holy with something that was historically like antithetical to all like holy symbolism, like burned by crosses, burned by holy water, all of that. So my take on vampires is a little bit different from the current pop culture. I know Arista writes about vampires and her vampires are great. But it's just something neat that I have between the Seelie and the Unseelie courts. Everything is very like black and white because it's, again, an allegory mostly written for my younger siblings. Caitlin's line, Anakin crossed the finish line in a cloud of light, immersed in the Force so deeply that if he hadn't noticed the crowd's reaction, he might not have noticed the end of the race. Oh, I love that. That's so dramatic. I just finished watching the prequels with my boyfriend, and there was such a good story there, and I need to read so much Fix-It fanfiction now, because Padme is such a fascinating character, and she's so underdeveloped, and Anakin Redemption has so many questions, and I'm definitely not the biggest Star Wars nerd on the block, but I think it's a fascinating fandom, and a fascinating franchise with so many interesting characters and questions. So I'd be definitely interested in reading that whenever you're ready to share it. The Force is such an interesting magic system, too. A long-running joke among my friends and loved ones is that I have not watched most pop media, and so every time a reference is made around me to some meme or TV show or movie that is in the cultural zeitgeist, it just flies over my head. And so my friends joke that I'm an immortal from the 15th century who accidentally took a nap through the 20th century and now has to get caught up on modern society. And so my boyfriend has taken it upon himself to educate me on all of the things that I've been missing. So that included watching the Star Wars prequels. I've been binging through Doctor Who recently because the 60th anniversary is coming up. And boy, do I have things to say about all of that. I'm not going to post about Doctor Who on the Doctor Who website, but yeah, ripping it apart is a lot of fun. That's really interesting how you're writing the romance between the two different cultures. They're two fantastical cultures, but it's still something that a lot of people can probably relate to. And I really like that. I'm excited to see that development happen, and I always like the slow burn, so that sounds like it's going to be really cool. A marigold and snake tattoo sounds really pretty. You hadn't seen any Disney movies. That's so funny, Lila. I have seen a lot of Disney movies because I have 4 younger siblings, and the youngest one is still 9. But yeah, most teen and R-rated movies were banned in our household, so that's a lot to cover. My sister's really into the MCU, and that's something I haven't had the strength of will to tackle yet. Oh, Moana's a cute one. Heather, it sounds like your characters are going through so much drama. That's going to be so exciting to write. Since I'm switching to editing Runaways now, I'm going to be working on chapter 2 because I finished chapter 1 the other night. And I'm just going through with the Pro Writing Aid software and doing all the grammar and spelling and cutting out crutch words and making sure my character arcs are like actually working properly, and I explain the mythology as I lore drop. And all of that, and boy, this one's at 50. It keeps going down. 51% for the grammar and spelling check, so it's going to be a while. I'm not writing anything new, but I'll count the number of words or paragraphs that I get through as I edit. But this chapter is Hannah preparing to leave to search for Cecilia and gathering all of her things and wandering through the woods and meeting her first animal companion friend. So I'm excited to get into this. I know there's some fun lines in here. Yeah, 200 words of fanfiction can totally count towards a sprint. Oh, that's so cool. I've never heard the Force as a parallel for the Holy Spirit before. But that's fascinating. I love that. That's super cool. Thank you for coming, Heather. I'm glad you could make it. I know the time zones aren't always the best for everyone. I know it's ridiculously late for Arista right now. So yeah. Stay for as long as you can. I really appreciate that you were able to make it. Alright, before it gets too much into the early morning, I guess I'll switch back to the timer. I concur with Lila. Darkling is such a nice title. I picked up Changeling at first because I'm writing Runaways, and that's a Changeling story between the 2 sisters. And I was really curious to see how other writers approach Changeling stories. And I think how you handled it is really interesting because it's nothing like Runaways. And I think it's fun to do that, I don't know, nerd homework, so to speak, of reading things in your genre and trying to find comp titles and looking at the different keywords and seeing just how different so many people's imaginations take them. Because I've had the story rattling around in my brain for like probably 8 years now. And whenever I first learned about the Changeling myth, this story popped into my head and I was like, this has to be the way it has to be told. Like, I'm sure this must be done before. And it hasn't. I've read dozens of books that feature changelings, and none of them are even remotely like Runaways. The closest I've found to a comp title is actually Coraline, or the Spiderwick Chronicles, but mainly Coraline in the town, which has nothing to do with the Fae, actually. And so I just think it's really interesting
to see how much a genre can vary within itself. I like that a lot. I think titling books can often be really difficult, and I think you've struck a really good balance with it too. And they just have such a nice ring to them. Changeling, Darkling, it rolls off the tongue. Alright, I'm gonna get the next timer started so we can fit a couple more sprints in before it's 11 and I need to get to bed. I know you're a night owl. I'm usually a night owl, but I also have work in the morning, so let's get started, shall we? Happy writing. Hello everybody, welcome back. How did we do for this writing sprint? I don't have a word count because I'm editing, but this chapter is, oh, how long? 11 pages long. And so I went through it with the basic, like, grammar spell check. I went through it with the style check, and I'm now going through it for the, like, crutch words check, which always takes the longest. I have such a bad habit of using crutch words and constructing sentences in a really roundabout way that I'm trying to fix. So I'm working on improving that now. But if you have a favorite line from today or from this sprint, go ahead and share it. And I will add mine. Let's see. Crutch words are words like just, that, felt, things that slow down your writing that are usually not necessary in a sentence. I'm using a writing software called Pro Writing Aid, which is like a grammar and spell checker, but it has a lot of more sophisticated checkers too that help flag some of those things. And because I'm line editing Runaways now, and I'm going to be doing a lot of line edits in the near future as I send this draft through beta readers and try and get it off to an editor, I'm just trying to make sure it's as clean as possible. So it's a lot of work, a lot of Control F, and like restructuring individual sentences to make the writing as clear as possible. But it's the in-between of developmental editing and like actually proofreading and checking for typos. So it can be kind of tedious, but it's important. And I want to do it before I send it to beta, so that way they have a clean, clear draft to read and they can focus on all of the terrible plot holes that I'm making. Yeah, having the writing program helps a lot for this because everything's highlighted and it's organized in nice little reports. But it's also an expensive program. So it's an investment. I'm telling myself it's an investment, and whenever the book gets published and does well, it'll make it up. But Yes, I'm working on my story called Runaways. I don't recognize your username, but I'm sure I know you from somewhere, so let me know if you have a different username somewhere on Tumblr or Instagram or something. Moon Crystal. Alright. Here's the line that I liked from the session. Oh, hi, Case. Sorry, I didn't recognize you for a second. Yeah, Runaways is the name of my middle grade fairy changeling sister's book that I did. I did it for Nano to finish the draft because I've been in developmental editing hell for the past year or so, and now I'm trying to get it cleaned up so I can send it to beta readers. Kaze. Okay, thank you for correcting me. Jasper, I am fascinated by this development in the statue coming to life. I don't know what's going on, but I'm fascinated by it. June, I love that. I'm home being a war cry is really interesting and compelling. I love it when the characters take the reins. The imagery of glowing-eyed squirrels and bats with cloud wings is incredible. I think we can all relate to the holiday spirit of a complicated family. I'm going to go to the bathroom before the next sprint, but you guys can keep talking amongst yourselves if you like. for coming, Caitlin. I'm glad you could make it. And thank you about the breaking bread line. I was trying to play off of the myth about if you eat Fae food, you're going to be stuck there forever. And so Hannah's being... I don't know if sarcastic is the right word. Impish? I'm forgetting the right word, but she's being kind of a scourge. She's being intentionally annoying. Like, if I offer the Fae food, are they going to get caught here? Can I work reverse magic on them if they eat human food instead of me eating their Fae food? Or would it be rude if I ate human food in the Fae court instead of accepting what they offer me? Because she's a clever protagonist. She's not a protagonist who knows what she's doing, but she's trying to be clever, despite the fact that she doesn't have all of the facts. Bye, Lila. Thanks for coming. Facetious is a good word for it. Yeah, thank you. I think people are starting to leave, so we'll do one more sprint and then we can shut off for the night, I think. It's getting late for most folks. I'm gonna try and get through this chapter. Yeah, I'm glad you could make it. And most people don't stay for the whole thing. People come and go as their schedules demand, but I'm just glad I can host it and help people write at least a little bit, even if it is for just half an hour or so. It's nice to catch up and chat with people, and I'm glad that you met your daily quota, though. That's awesome. I am trying to catch up on, like, 10 days of quota. I'm gonna show my tracking document for a second because this Excel sheet is absolutely ridiculous. And I need you all to understand my pain. Hopefully you can see what I am showing here. Can it fit on the screen? There we go. Aha! Ta-da! But I did nothing this past week because I had family over for Thanksgiving, and so this is what my core graph looks like. The orange line is the Runaways goal, and so I met the Runaways goal. I met the Runaways goal right before my family came out for Thanksgiving, and so now I'm playing catch up to make the Nano goal of 50,000. If I get anywhere remotely near here, I'm just going to be happy that I wrote this month. But I do think this is a inherently hilarious graph, but maybe that's just the engineer in me talking. Yes, the spreadsheets are absolutely necessary. Because I'm not just working on Runaways. Like, I finished Runaways, but now I'm doing another project, and I had to have a way to combine the word counts, and then I started with 59,000 words in this draft, and I'm only going up from there. So I didn't start with a nice zero balance. I had to do like weird subtraction to figure out how many words I wrote each day, and then how much I wrote in a month, and then make the graph. So my degree went towards something useful. I'll put this away now. probably put my final words into Nano if I actually hit 50k, so that way I can achieve all the winner goodies and things. I don't even know what the winner prizes are this year, but that's a problem for if I actually hit 50k. Oh, that's clever to do the number of sprints. I don't really use sprints on a day-to-day basis because I'm mostly writing on my phone at work, and it's really difficult to toggle between different Google Docs and keep track of a Sprintobot on Discord at the same time. But that's really cool that you're able to do that. Yeah, well, the Nano certificates are so nice. Like I said, I haven't won since I was in, like, 8th grade, but I'm glad to be back at it again. Hopefully this will be the first of many years that I win. Hopefully. We'll see. The graph says otherwise. Alright. I think if we're all ready to get started, I will set the timer again. Last sprint of the night. Let's hope it's a good one. Happy writing. All right, I think we're back. Can you guys hear me? Oh, hi Lila. I'm glad you're still here. Okay, good. How did our last sprint go? Nice! Finishing a chapter is always very satisfying. Here's a line I liked from this part. Nice! 631's really good. I've been fighting with this one paragraph because it's so clunky and I'm not sure how to make it sound better without butchering the meaning, and I'm almost done with this chapter, but I want to finish it. I'm very tired. Oh, that's fun, Lila. This chapter is pretty low stakes because it's a transition chapter. In chapter 1, Hannah realizes that her sister's gone missing and that the Fae took her and she needs to go rescue her sister. And this chapter is Hannah consulting the fairy tales, collecting her wits and her tools, and then setting out into the forest. And it ends with her finding the Pied Piper and meeting the villain for the first time. And so it's an important transitional chapter, but it's also fairly dull because it's packing and hiking through the woods, and I'm trying to find a way to make the language more active with stronger verbs and more exciting, and it's just how many times can I describe a hike through the woods without becoming Tolkien? So wish me luck with that. I like that, Jasper. Yay, POV switch. I'm too early in the draft right now for a POV switch, but it starts going... The first draft that I wrote of this that I sent to beta readers only had one POV, and it was Hannah's. Outside of one part in the climax where one of her sisters gets a bit, and it's really short, it's only like a page in this other POV. And my beta readers thought it was really jarring, and they were like, why is this POV here? It's really cool, but you should have it throughout the book. And I was like, okay, I guess I'll add context. So now Cecilia and the Taken both have POVs, which start around chapter 5. So it starts just from Hannah's POV for the first 5 chapters, and then once she finds Cecilia starts getting a POV, and then once they find the Taken, about 2/3 of the way through the book, the Taken starts getting a POV. So it gradually gets more complex. And trying to balance all of that was a struggle while I was drafting this last third draft. And so a big part of this line edit is making sure that the different voices sound distinct, because they're sisters. They're going to talk in a similar manner, but they should sound distinct from each other regardless, so you can tell who's saying what whenever you're in their POV. Yeah, retaining the reader's attention is difficult, Lila. I'm good at arguments. I'm good at fight scenes. I really love reading and writing dialogue. Most of my middle is heavy conversations between Hannah and the twins, or between Cecilia and her mentor, or between Bridget and the girls, and they're discussing difficult things and arguing with each other. And I really enjoy writing that, almost like a screenplay, and then going in and then adding all the action later. But Hannah is alone, and so it's just her and her actions and her thoughts and the description. And that is really challenging for me because I don't tend to dwell like that. I like characters to be bickering with each other at all times. Or making heartfelt confessions, either or, but mostly bickering. I can't be writing a book about siblings and sisters if they're not arguing with each other. Yeah, Jasper, most of Hannah's chapters are longer and they're easier for me to write because Hannah was my original POV character and I relate to her a lot. Writing from Cecilia's point of view and the Taken's point of view is a lot more difficult because they have completely different life experiences and they're also much younger, and so they can be a little brattier and they can't quite articulate their emotions. And so they're unreliable narrators, and that makes it difficult in a lot of ways, but I'm not there yet. Gale flew around the waterfalls, making little whirlwinds with the falling droplets and laughing in striated cries of joy. Oh, that's lovely. That sounds like so much fun. I'm glad that you all had a productive writing session. It is getting late for me, so I think I'm going to call it quits here. But I'm so glad that you all joined me tonight. I wish you the best of luck with catching up on all your nano endeavors or completing all your nano endeavors. I can't wait to see all of your writing. If you're on Tumblr or on Instagram, feel free to tag me in whatever it is that you're posting, and I'd be happy to promote it and share it. And I want to see all of the cool work and writing that you guys are doing. So definitely make sure that if I somehow manage to miss following you, I actually go and do that. And just tagging me or bothering me is the best way to get my attention. Yeah, I'm glad you were all able to make it. I will be hosting one of these in December. Normally it's the last Monday of the month, but I think that's actually Christmas, and I'm doing a lot of traveling around Christmas, so I'll probably reschedule it for a different week. I'm actually doing 3 big trips in December. I'm doing 3 Christmas trips, so it'll be one of the off weekends when I'm actually home, probably. But thank you all for coming. I will post when the next one's going to be a little closer to the date once I double check the calendar. But it's nice to have you all.